Jason Henry of the Jason Henry Project. I hope that you've enjoyed all of the writings that you've received via my blog, The Jason Henry Project, that's hosted on hyperorlando.com. If you haven't, then I don't really know what to tell you, but if you have, thank you for clicking, thank you for sharing, thank you for reading, and most of all, just thank you for your support. In the next installment of the Jason Henry Project, I'm calling this one Step Inside the Project. This is going to be something new from the Jason Henry Project. In December and January, I started a new series called Fresh Faces of Orlando. There were young politicos around the city that maybe you haven't heard of, and some maybe you have, but I wanted to give a little bit more background on these individuals and why the city of Orlando has a bright future when it comes to politics. With Step Inside the Project, this is going to give you a little bit more detail about some of the things that are coming up on the Jason Henry Project. In the next couple of weeks, I'm actually going to present a new video interview, or a web series, I should say, about women in politics. I'm going to interview some of your favorite local politicos. Some were featured on the Fresh Face series, some weren't, but this is going to be a more in-depth series. So instead of a profile about some of their political thoughts, we're actually going to get into a little bit more detail about what they think about certain things that are said about women in politics and the way forward for women in politics as well. So I hope you'll join us for that series. In the very first installment of Step Inside the Project, I'm actually going to give you a little bit more detail about the individuals that were behind Fresh Faces. So from Roosevelt Homes to Mike Scott to Jasmine Bernie to Alicia Adamson, I want to break down really quickly about why I chose these individuals and why I think, or I thought, that they should be listed as a fresh face in the city of Orlando. First up was the first person featured, Jasmine Bernie. In full disclosure, I've been friends with Jasmine for a few years. Our friendship was cultivated when I ran for office in 2012. But if you are familiar with Democratic politics in the county of Orange and specifically in the city of Orlando, and if you've just hang around certain Democratic circles, you probably know her name. For those of you who aren't familiar with her, I hope that this gave you the opportunity to get to know a little bit about her thinking, a little bit about her political thought process, and why she's so popular, why she's gaining in popularity, and why Orlando may not be able to hold on to her for much longer just because she's innovative, she's driven, she's very intelligent, and I don't know, sometimes DC folks, we pick up, or I shouldn't say we, but they pick up on those people really quickly. But she was featured just because I thought she is a fresh face. She's young. She's under the age of 30. She's making waves here in Orlando. She's worked on some high profile campaigns. She's worked on some local campaigns as well. And I thought that outside of the circles that I run in and the circles that my friends run in, I thought that I had the opportunity to present her to a larger audience. Not that my audience is, that large in the first place, but it did hopefully open more eyes up to what she brings to the table. So I implore you to go read more about her. Jasmine Bernie, she has a new organization, a new civics organization called Chicks in Politics. They had their first event, I believe, this past weekend. That was a huge success. She's pushing the narrative that women, and hopefully this doesn't come off as too crass, but women deserve a seat at the table along with men. That, the ideas that we have sometimes are all the same, and sometimes just because they're presented by a different individual, they're taken more seriously. But I implore you, read more about her. Go to Chicks in Politics. She's on Twitter, or that organization is on Twitter. That organization is on Facebook, and read more about her via the Hyper Orlando profile that I did on her, and decide for yourself. But Jasmine Bernie was the very first fresh face listed, and she absolutely deserved to be there. Person listed under Fresh Faces was Roosevelt Homes. I've known of Roosevelt since 2012. We became friendly, as I mentioned in the article, just bumping into each other on the campaign trail. He was working for Mayor Buddy Dyer, and then he transitioned to work for Senator Geraldine Thompson while I was running for office at the same time. We're both young, we're both African American, and eventually we just became friends just because we kept bumping into each other. And we have we pretty much have the same political mindset. But with Roosevelt, he has matriculated his way all the way up to DC. He again started from Mayor Dyer, graduated to work for Senator Thompson on the campaign and in our office, and he's doing some really, really wonderful things in politics. And individuals who have that type of mindset, that are driven, that are ambitious, that have an idea that they want to improve their community through the political process, and you're young and you're doing some wonderful things at the same time, why shouldn't they be featured? And with Roosevelt, just because I've known him for a while, I know his mindset, we've helped each other out in the past. I just thought he should be featured. He is a fresh face. As I mentioned with Jasmine, when you are that political, when you're that astute, when you have that type of political mind, it's hard for the city that you're in to hold on to you. And Roosevelt, I mean, he's back and forth in Orlando right now, I believe. But as I mentioned before, it's hard. It's really tough, just when you're that great at what you do. So with him, again, another person that's under the age of 30, doing great things in the city of Orlando, and he absolutely should have been featured. I implore you to go and look him up, read more about him, hyperorlando.com/. Jason-Henry-Project to learn more about Roosevelt. Look him up on Facebook, look him up on Twitter. He's there. And as I mentioned before, an impeccable dresser. And I like to think of myself as, someone who knows how to dress as well. But Roosevelt may be on that same level. So go read more about Roosevelt Homes in the Fresh Face series and learn more about who he is. Up is Coy Jones. I've known Coy Jones for a little while as well. Let me just say this as an aside. A lot of the individuals listed under Fresh Faces, I have a very friendly relationship with, or I've developed a friendly relationship with them after they were featured on the list. That does not mean that they were chosen because they're friends. They were chosen because I thought that these are individuals who should have been recognized a long time ago in Orlando politics. When we have lists of this nature that come out, like top 30 under 30, top 40 under 40, top 20 under 20, whatever it may be, it's always missing a little color, in my opinion. So I just wanted to feature a diverse mix of Black folk that were making some really good waves or making some positive moves in the city of Orlando and the county of Orange in terms of politics. And so we have this 9-person list that was created. But for Coy Jones, how did I meet her? I think I met her not on the campaign trail, actually. I believe I was president or running for president of the Young Democrats of Orange County, and our paths kind of crossed that way because she was involved with the Democratic Executive Committee, and we became friendly that way, running in the same political circles. And she started working with SEIU and doing some really great things in the community for unions. And man, she is just passionate. That's one thing that I really like about Coy, is that her passion comes across and it is absolutely tangible. Like, you feel like you can touch it. When the picture that I found of her with the bullhorn, and she's I think this was at a Black Lives Matter event, and she's yelling. You can see the vein kind of popping out of her neck. That shows the tangible and palpable passion that she has, and it's for people, and it manifests itself through politics. And she absolutely deserved the spot. She absolutely did. She should have been featured a long, long time ago about some of the great and positive things that she's done in the city of Orlando when it comes to politics. And I'm just happy that I had the opportunity to do so and that she allowed me to feature her on the list. So Coy Jones, go and look her up, Facebook, Twitter. We briefly did a TV show together that was really, really cool. And read her profile again. Coy Jones, Jason Henry Project. I implore you to do so. Stallworth. Alicia, I've known of Alicia, or I've heard her name here and there, but I actually did not know her personally. We technically worked on the same campaign, just in different departments. And once the campaign was done, and we kind of had an opportunity to kind of let it sit and settle. And I had this idea to feature individuals on a fresh face list, and I was asking different friends and different political friends, who do you think should be there? Give me your idea on this person. Give me some names. Each person that I asked always mentioned Alicia Stallworth. So I reached out to her. We talked. I did the profile. and learn more about her in the process, learn more about her political thought process. And it was just really, really cool getting to know her and deserving to be on the list. I just hate to put that tagline on it because, again, every person here deserved to be on the list long before I created something for my small little tiny blog. That's that's there. This was my opportunity or my chance to show these individuals off to Orlando's larger community. Some of them were featured on the Orlando Sentinel's homepage, which was dope. Some of them, the page views were astronomical for my blog, which is fantastic. So with Alicia, though, very, very smart, very intelligent, very thoughtful. One of the individuals that was featured that everybody said, this is the person that you should put on the list. So I'm sure that she's going to pop up on many a list, post mine. And this is just the first of a long line of features that she's probably going to have the opportunity to participate in. But Alicia Stalwart, someone that you should remember, a name that you should remember, a face that you should remember, because I'm pretty sure, again, whether it's Orlando or another city that snags her, you are going to definitely hear about her in the future. The next person on the list is Mr. Deburr Ali. I became friends with Mr. Ali over the past year. Became to know of him through Facebook, through campaigning, through just moving along in the same political circles. And again, just noticed his passion. You can tell that he is eventually going to run for something. And I don't say that in a disparaging way. You just know that he has a heart to help. And he wants to, help improve his community, whether that's through elected office, whether that's through appointment to a board, whether that's through serving as president of his, neighborhood association, whatever it may be. You just know that he has a heart for helping out his fellow man. And I wanted to profile that. I wanted to give a little bit more background into how he thinks, into what makes him move, and also, not necessarily to separate him from his grandmother, Mabel Butler, but just to give maybe an aside that yes, they're related, that yes, she's very famous, that she was controversial, and that she is a lion in politics, not just black politics in Orlando, but in Orange County, she is absolutely a lioness. But just to show that, maybe there are some differences. So, don't necessarily judge him by his lineage, but judge him on his own. Judge him, by his thoughts, by his merit, by his value. And I hope that, it came off that way. I hope that the profile was able to show that, he's not necessarily just specifically connected to his grandmother and to his friends. And that's, where his political thought comes from. So go and read more about it. Deburr Ali, he's on Facebook, he's on Twitter. The profile is still up, Jason Henry Project. I implore you to read more about him. He's an interesting cat, man. I guarantee you that. But it was a fantastic opportunity for me to get the opportunity and the chance to feature him through the Fresh Face series. Homie Dominique, or Dom as she is affectionately known. I got to know her some years back when Kendrick Meek was running for Senate. She was still at UCF. I was still kind of getting my feet wet in Orange County politics. And we were working as volunteers on the Meek campaign. I don't know, maybe she was paid staff at that point, but we became friendly that way and just kind of stayed connected through the years. She has moved her way up very quickly through the process, through the political process. She's been with the Orange County Democratic Executive Committee. She was president of the Florida College Dems. She was president of the UCF College Dems. She had a very high profile position with the Florida Democratic Party. She ascended her way to campaign manager for Karen Castor Dental, onto an aide for Karen Castor Dental. So she is another individual that it wouldn't shock me if, I see on Facebook one day, or we're talking and she's saying, yeah, I got a job, working with the president in DC, or I'm doing this, random, wonderful opportunity up in Washington. Because I know what's in her heart. I know what drives her, or at least I think I know what drives her politically. And I just know that she is a very intelligent and is steeped in intellect. And politics is just one way that she may change the world. This may not be the end necessarily. You start out in one field and sometimes you end up in another. But she's another one that, long overdue. even though she's very young, long overdue that she, was featured on any type of list. So I'm glad that I had the chance to feature my friend Dom, everybody's friend Dom. And I implore you again to go and read about these individuals. If you have not read their profiles, go do so now. hyperorlando.com/Jason-Henry-project. Dominique, the incomparable, the wonderful and fantastic Dominique. Go and read about her, Dom. To combine the next two, Alicia Adamson and Russell Drake. Um, Not for any particular reason, maybe just for time, to be honest with you. Alicia, I've known of her for a few years. I'm trying to think how we actually became friendly. It was probably through a political event. Oh, I know what it was. I was president of the Young Dems, and my the vice president at the time, Laura Corolla. Um, we were holding some type of event. I think it was after Trayvon Martin was killed, and we wanted to have some attorneys to come and explain what your rights are if you're stopped by a police officer, and among different things, to just the youth of Orlando. We had this forum, and she said, "I know it would be great. Alicia Adamson would be wonderful for this." And since then, I've sat on different panels with her. I've been in different, I guess, political circles with her, and you just kind of run into her and, got to know her a little bit. Got to understand that she has a heart for the community. She has a heart for people. She has a heart to help. She's a wonderful attorney in the city of Orlando. Does, I believe, two different political, or not political, I should say, two different radio segments, just about, knowing what your rights are, knowing what the law is, just explaining that process to the community. And I just figured she needed to be featured. She said that she has no plans for the moment to run for office, but at the moment, maybe that's not true. But I can absolutely see her running for something in the very near future. She has that type of mindset. She's driven. She's very politically astute, in my opinion. She's not a traditional political individual, meaning, she isn't a part of the DEC. She hasn't volunteered on a ton of campaigns, but she has a political mindset. And, I wanted to feature her just to show something different, that every elected official or every political mind doesn't necessarily come from the same background. We don't all run in the same circles. And the same for Russell Drake. Russell Drake has volunteered on campaigns. That's how we got to know each other, I believe. I was running for office, and I saw that he was doing a lot for his fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, and he just wanted to get involved more. He wanted to show that there is more to it than what you see. And for him, it was the same. It's again, every single person that helps you out in the community, or that you see doing good things, or that you see maybe volunteering on a campaign or has something to say politically. Again, they're not going to come from the same background, and I wanted to just show something different, that some of the people that maybe or some of the people that have been presented that you haven't heard of, that you may think, well, they're connected through this way. No, they're not connected through any of the same avenues and channels that you may be accustomed to. That they have something different that they're bringing to the table, and that goes for Alicia and for Russell. So Russell said he has no immediate plans to run for office. We'll see how that goes in the future. He's very popular. Same for Alicia. They have a tremendous social media following. They're both on Instagram. They're both on Facebook. They're both on Twitter. And you should go and follow them. You should go and hear about what they have to say. You should go and read about what they're presenting to the community, because it is something of absolute value. So I thought that these two people should be featured as fresh faces, because number one, they deserve it, and number two, they should have been on somebody else's list long before I decided to feature them on my little blog. Next on the list is my man Mike Scott. Full disclosure, Mike and I became friends in 2012. He was running for school board. I was running for state house, and that's kind of how our friendship started. And that's not where it ended, though. He is absolutely one of my best friends in the world now, just because of the connection and the bond that we created through that process. Running for office is a very arduous process. It is. It's hard. It's taxing. It's emotional. It's tough. And maybe that's kind of how we connected. We were able to kind of trade war stories about what was going on on our individual paths, so to speak. We both lost, obviously, because I'm not sitting in my office right now, and he's not sitting in his. But he's driven every single person on this list. I hate to keep bringing the same word over and over again. Each and every person has a drive and a certain level of ambition. You have to be that way to remain in politics seriously, and you have to be that way to even think that you should run for office. And anybody here that has made that decision, whether it's me, Mike, or whomever it may be, you really have to have a little bit of an ego to think that, you know what, I can be the individual to bring about change to my community. But he has a heart to help, and I don't say that lightly. I know I've described 3 different individuals that way, but Mike has his own organization. It's called Helping All Youth Achieve. He mentors young kids. He mentors young kids at 33rd, the jail in Orlando. He does this for a living. This is not something he takes lightly at all. All of the kids and the teenagers that he mentors, that he has a relationship with, he calls them my kids because he feels that he's responsible for their well-being. And anytime anything happens to him, he takes it personal. And the reason why he ran for school board, not anything negative against Kat Gordon, the individual that he ran against, but it was because he felt that he, was able to tap into the needs of these kids because, he's mentoring them. He's talking to them every single day. Not saying that Mrs. Gordon isn't, but, he just felt that he had a wonderful opportunity to bring something new to the school board and to address the needs that, he felt maybe the school board wasn't addressing for those individuals, for those kids. So he ran for office in 2012, so you may already know him. If you're in Orlando, if you're somewhere in Orange County in that district, then you probably saw those big, huge signs a few years ago that said Mike Scott, or you've gone to his website, My Mike Scott. But he's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. Go ahead and follow him, Mike Scott or Michael Scott. He's a fantastic individual, very thoughtful, and somebody that you are absolutely going to see in the future. I don't know for what seat. Maybe it's going to be school board again. Not sure. That's going to run for office again, and he absolutely deserves your time. He deserves your thoughts, and he deserves your value as well, because he's such a dynamic individual. But every single person that was listed, all 9, there could have been 20 more. There could have been, but 9 were featured here. And, nobody was chosen or left off because of any specific, let me not say that. Nobody was left off for a specific reason. These 9 were chosen because either some of the individuals that read the blog have never heard of them, or they deserve, additional exposure. And all of them are young, and all of them are bringing something new and different to the table. So Fresh Face Orlando, this is something that, we may end up continuing in 2015. Maybe in December, we'll do this again. We'll choose 9 new individuals that you've never heard of, or maybe you have and you just want to know more information about them. But Jason Henry Project, hyperorlando.com, Jason-Henry-Project. Again, I appreciate you reading the blog. I appreciate you sharing any article that I've written. I even appreciate you leaving disparaging comments in my email box. I really do. And specifically for this series, Fresh Faces, thank you so much for reading. Thank you so much to each and every individual who chose to participate. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate you as well. Step inside of the project. We have something new and exciting coming up that I hope that you'll take time out to read and enjoy and listen to and just ingest with your heart and your spirit. So for the first series of Step Inside the Project, thanks again for watching. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the very first installment of Step Inside the Project. In this new series that I'm presenting, this is going to be a video where... Welcome to the very first installment of Step Inside the Project. In this new series I'm presenting, this is going to be a video...